During the last few years, we've ventured into a lot of different fields, and we've had the opportunity to meet and work with a lot of wonderful people. I only hope that we never lose sight of one thing, that it was all started by a mouse.
Congratulations, Mr. Mickey Mouse. Congratulations to you.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Walt Daily. This is episode 69, and for those that don't know us by now, we're a Disney couple. One of us is a Disney fanatic and one of us is Disney Challenge, but somehow we've made a way to make this relationship work.
Yeah.
All right.
How's it going?
Great. Fun fact about the number 69. So there's a rapper by the name of Tekashi 69 that is currently...
Is that the guy that's in jail?
He's kind of in jail. He might be away for a while. There's a lot of funny memes. I mean, obviously it's a terrible situation because, you know, crimes are not fun. And then he has like a daughter and stuff he's supporting. But there's actually a lot of really funny memes about it because apparently he's like there's memes about, like anytime news comes out that it sounds like someone could have snitched on them, they say it was him because he's trying to get a lesser sentence. so the memes would be like so you know like you know Tristan Thomas, like it was like news recently that you know he like cheated on the whole Kardashian thing. So like the meme would be like this guy Tekashi 69 in the court, and it'd be like
snitching.
Yeah, and it would just be like, all right, so now let's talk about your racketeering charges, and then 69 the meme is like 69 says, have you heard about Tristan Thomas? So all
That's
right.
funny. Wow.
Some random news.
Yeah, it's good though. It's good that we are up to date in the land of hip hop as well as Disney. Yes, culture and Disney.
Yeah, because hip hop is culture.
Well, yeah, of course.
So.
As is Disney.
Yeah, some would say.
Richie just rolled his eyes. Oh my goodness.
Let's get in headlines, real Disney headlines.
Okay, so first headline. Flower and Garden Festival at Epcot is coming back. Woohoo!
I feel like that just happened.
Yeah, I know.
God.
Festival of the Arts just happened, but now Festival of the Arts is over, and it is time to get into Flower and Garden. I feel like that's your favorite Epcot festival.
Yeah.
Although you did enjoy your Festival of the Arts time.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this one was better. Might be better.
There's a lot more flowers, I'll say.
Yeah, but I think I like the art better, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I guess that means we're going to have to take a trip. That way we can have a real comparison.
Yeah.
So Flower and Garden Festival starts March 6th, and it runs until June 3rd. And when I was writing down the dates, it was like 3/6 to 6/3. Just saying.
Oh, nice. Is it a significant day? Like, is it a Monday to Monday, or is it like random days? Because that'll tell you if it was actually intentional or coincidence.
So March 3rd is a Wednesday, and then June 6th is a Thursday.
Oh.
Huh. I can't tell you if it's coincidence
It's
or
very
not.
close.
It could have almost been a coincidence or almost been intentional.
Mm-hmm.
The jury's still out. But even if you cannot go during those times, right now, and we're just a few days out from when the festival is actually supposed to officially begin, you can still see the topiaries that are out. There's new topiaries like Kermit, Bo Peep and her sheep. They're already making headlines, we'll say, around the web. So you can already kind of see what they're going to be looking like. And the first Garden Rock singer is going to be the former vocalist of the band Journey. He will be the person who's starting the Garden Rock series out.
I feel like I never know who any of these performers are.
Boys to Men sometimes performs, and Hanson, and Simple Plan. Those are more
I don't know who
recent,
Simple
I
Plan
suppose.
is. You had me until Simple Plan.
Oh, well, I mean, they're from like the 2000s.
Yeah.
But anywho, okay, next headline. International Women's Day is March 8th. Not really Disney news, but what is Disney news is the special things that they're going to be doing for International Women's Day. So for instance, at Magic Kingdom, they're going to have a sister soiree dance party is what it's called, and Joy from Inside Out and Judy Hopps from Zootopia are going to be there. At Epcot, the Voices of Liberty are going to be singing special female empowerment ballads.
Are men not allowed to attend?
Men are always welcome to attend to support womanhood.
If I was running that, I'd be like, guys are not allowed.
But I feel like having an International Women's Day is more than just including only women. I feel like it's celebrating the culture of women, which everybody can do.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And then in Hollywood studios, I think a lot of people are excited about this, but you can meet Rey from Star Wars. And meet the super women of Municeburg as well in the Incredibles area. So those are just a couple of things. There's also going to be special foods and other things that are going on in the parks. So definitely check your guide on March 8th if you're going to be there. Last headline.
Okay.
There's a new show at Animal Kingdom. A new group of performers, and it's called Bollywood Beats.
God.
I'm so excited. So it recently started. So at the time that you're listening to this, it's already going on in the park. It's across from the Anandapur Theater in Asia, and it's Bollywood dancers, and you're encouraged to join in to listen to the sounds and the beats of Bollywood. And it looks awesome. Super colorful, super high energy. I think it's just the perfect addition to Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
And there's shows all day. So if you don't catch them at one time, you can catch them throughout the day.
I feel like there's going to be a lot of people excited about that. I remember I posted a meme on something else that was like a Bollywood actor or something like that. And like that community really rallied around that meme. So I'm pretty sure, it's going to be a very similar thing with the new Bollywood show at Disney.
Yeah, I think that maybe how do I say this? That type of performance has probably been a long time coming because it really hasn't been a represented area necessarily as much. So it's really exciting to see that Animal Kingdom going on with their awesome live entertainment is one-upping themselves. Animal Kingdom has the best live entertainment, in my opinion, in Walt Disney World.
I think that makes sense too because it's mostly like I feel like the most thing that stands out about Animal Kingdom is like African performers.
That's
right?
how I felt too. Yeah, I mean, I guess just because they have a lot of variety over there too.
Yeah, but they have animals from like represented from all areas of the world.
Exactly.
Essentially, so it's kind of like Epcot but animal version.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. Okay.
So, those are my headlines today.
Okay.
I want to jump right into trivia because it's actually going to jump right in to what we're going to be talking about today. Okay. So, let's get started with trivia. Okay. I'm going to give you 3 parks, and it's kind of like, so we're going to be talking about Tokyo Disneyland today, and I'm going to ask you to put them in ranks again. But don't worry, it's not as complicated as last time.
Okay.
It's not as complicated as last time.
There's only 3.
Yeah, there's only 3. So, Disneyland in California, Magic Kingdom in Orlando, and Tokyo Disneyland. Which of the 3 is the biggest park? Not the actual resort as a whole, the individual park. How would you rank them in terms of largest to smallest, or smallest to largest, whichever you would choose?
I think the largest is Animal Kingdom.
No. Okay. Magic Kingdom.
Oh, Magic Kingdom.
Tokyo Disneyland. So just those 3 parks.
Okay.
Specifically those 3 parks.
So it's Tokyo, Magic, and then Disneyland.
So Tokyo's the largest?
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad you got that because I really thought that you were going to think that Magic Kingdom was the largest.
No, I knew it wasn't.
How did you know?
Because there's much more space in Tokyo Disneyland.
Or it just feels like there's much more space.
Because there is.
Well, yeah, there technically is. There's actually only really a difference of 10 acres, which isn't a huge amount in the grand scheme of things. So there's only a difference of 10 acres.
That's exponential when you have Japanese people designing stuff.
Because they're very efficient at layout and crowd control,
Exactly.
probably on top of that.
So it's really like 50.
Yeah, well, could be, but not literally.
Feels like 50.
Okay. So same 3 parks. How would you rank the parking lot size?
Oh, I know that too.
What is it?
So Tokyo is the biggest.
Okay.
And then comes Magic and then Disneyland.
So you think that the actual size of the parking lot is a direct relation to what the size of the actual park is what you're telling me? Because since Tokyo is the biggest, okay, you're completely wrong.
Really?
Yeah, you're completely wrong.
That's interesting.
Every single rank is incorrect.
So it's backwards? Is it
No.
exactly backwards?
No, it's not exactly backwards. It's all wrong.
So Magic has the biggest?
So Magic Kingdom has the biggest parking lot, not only in Disney parks as a whole, but it has the 5th biggest parking lot in the world.
Oh, wow.
So it's pretty crazy.
That's significant.
The 2nd largest parking lot is actually Disneyland in California,
And then Tokyo?
and then Tokyo.
That also makes sense because, Tokyo's mostly commuter, like people commute in. No one really has cars.
Yeah, so
For the most part.
the public transport system is super efficient in Japan, and it's definitely reflected in the parking lot size.
Is there another trivia question after this?
No, that's
Okay.
it.
Because I have a question.
Oh gosh,
Who has the most traffic in the park?
the
of those
most
3?
attendance, you mean? So Magic Kingdom is number 1, Disneyland is number 2, and Tokyo Disneyland is number 3 at the last list that I actually saw.
Okay.
But yeah,
Okay. Cool.
so
So hopefully someone will double check that and see if you're right.
yeah. But anyways, so let's get into what we're going to be talking about today, which is Disney deciding to bring Disneyland to Tokyo as its first international park. So, just a little bit of context. At the time that there was, before Tokyo Disneyland opened in 1983, I guess that this is still true today. It was said that Americans are 4 hours or less, technically, from a park in either direction. So, like, even if you live in the very, very center of the U.S., you're really only 4 hours away from getting
plane?
into a Disney park. Yeah, it would be by plane.
Okay.
Because if you drive from Montana to Disneyland in 4 hours, that's amazing. But I don't think it's possible.
Okay.
So, and actually, at the time, well before, again, Tokyo Disneyland opened, a lot of outside companies and developers were trying to reach out to Disney to say, hey, bring Disney to us. We can make this great. We can work as a partnership and whatnot. So when Disney was looking to open an international park, the biggest contenders were Japan or just Europe in general. So those were kind of where they were starting off.
So what made them go to Japan?
So a few reasons. The things that they were looking at just in general for if they can gauge of whether or not a Disney park would be successful there is the economic stability of the country itself, how the Disney brand is received in the country, and the potential for growth. And so, what?
You know what's funny about that is that sports teams have a similar issue.
What do you mean?
Like when a sports franchise is trying to decide, like if it's going to be a new sports franchise or if they're going to move because something happened, they have to like take into account all those different types of things.
But that's interesting because I feel like when they moved the Rams to LA, I don't know that was a great decision because isn't LA not a big sports town?
So I don't know any of the details behind why that happened or what happened there, but all those things that you mentioned comes into play, and it could have been something happened with a deal that they weren't getting, some sort of funds or the proper funds to like continue, and then like St. Louis is not the greatest city to have like sports franchises in. People know that.
People in St. Louis are probably yelling at you right
No,
now.
I know they might be upset, but I mean it's just kind of true, and I think that's also why the freaking team left.
The St. Louis Cardinals are like one of probably the most popular baseball teams in the country.
Yeah, but that's probably for that sport though. Like, because you have to think about those things. Like, is the sport going to do well there? Like, you have to. Why did it leave then?
So you don't think a sports
If-
fan is
if
just
it was-
a fan
if it
of
was-
sports in general?
If it was the greatest place to have a team, there would be a football team there.
Okay.
Like, there's just the economics behind it. It's not my opinion. It's just it's like what happened.
So you think Miami's the best place to have the Dolphins?
It's a good place to have sports teams. Look at the Miami Heat. Look at the Miami Marlins. Like they're all in one city.
Yeah, they're all here, but I feel like
Even the Florida Panthers are here.
that's true, which is a hockey team, and it's very hot. By the way, it's very hot today.
Yeah.
like 95 degrees.
I mean, either way though, obviously there's no offense. I don't even know if I know anyone from St. Louis, so like I don't have anything against them. It's just globally kind of looking at it from a nationwide standpoint.
Okay.
That's the reason why the team left. It was like economic reasons.
Okay.
So, anyhow.
Back to Disney.
Yeah.
Very good point to prove Disney's point.
Yeah.
So it was thought that because of those 3 just generic factors, that Japan would actually be one of the best places to bring Disney to. And more so than that. So when the thought was like, okay, so let's investigate Japan a little bit more, there were other factors that were unveiled that, this is why this would be successful here. So one, and this is a crazy statistic, there's a memo that was released. It was called an executive summary about why to bring. They were calling it Oriental Disneyland at the time, which is super
racist.
It's and it's really not politically correct in terms of today's standards. But they were calling it Oriental Disneyland at the time, like before it was actually settled that it would be Tokyo Disneyland. But there was an executive summary for all the reasons about why this would be a good project, and one of them was that the actual size of Japan is roughly about the size of California, but the actual general area that in Tokyo Bay where the parks would be located, or the park at the time, not plural, but where the park at the time would be located, contains 3 times the population density of the general area where Disneyland in Anaheim is located. So it's a much more concentrated area of people in that smaller area, in addition to having such a good public transit system to add to that, to bring people to the park.
I didn't never think that to look at the map and compare California and Japan, it actually does kind of look like each other.
They look kind of like mirror images of each other, like Japan's just flipped.
No, I think it's has the same kind of left turn, doesn't it?
Oh, does it have a left
so
turn?
It's kind of the same.
Oh, I was thinking that's a right turn. Wait,
Japan?
It's because I'm looking at you. It's a right turn.
Yeah. No, but Japan
has a left turn.
And so does California. From starting at the top, it goes down and to the left.
To the right.
It is to the right. You're right. My bad, guys.
Richie and I
have dyslexia.
Can I just? It's not even that, Richie. Like, you and I have had disputes and disagreements off camera about geography before, and Richie tell them the story, because it's a cute story, but it still angers me about why you don't know geography.
Okay, so I am probably one of the absolute worst at geography. Like, I don't know anything in terms of geography. I don't know capitals. I don't know where countries are. I don't know if countries are capitals or cities. And the reason is because my first class in 6th grade, which is where I think, middle school is where you get a solid foundation of geography.
Yeah.
And just middle school in general. And 6th grade, literally my first period that I had to go to school in 6th grade first period was geography. And that was for the whole year. And that meant that was immediately the sleep class. Like, that's the class I slept in. And my teacher just kind of gave up on me and just knew that, like, I'm going to show up and I'm going to go right to sleep because I'm not a morning person. And that's exactly what I literally slept every class. I failed it. I almost had to do summer school in 6th grade because I failed. No, not almost. I had to do summer school in 6th grade because I would have failed 6th grade if I didn't make up that class in summer school because I failed it.
Oh, gosh.
But then it just became a trigger for the rest of my life that anytime I heard about geography, I just got, like, sleepy and I just never really paid attention.
Forever.
Yeah.
To this day.
To this day, I'm terrible at geography.
And Richie and I are actually planning our honeymoon right now, and he literally, I have to describe exactly, like, where things are located to figure out exactly where we're going.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's adorable, but it does explain a lot as to why you don't know what you know.
Yeah. Really nicely put. Thanks.
Yeah. So that's kind of another factor that Disney said, hey, this would actually be a good idea. There's a couple of other things that I want to bring up because it's actually, I think you're going to be really interested in it. So the Oriental Land Company, who's still running the infrastructure of Tokyo Disneyland today, They are a commercial residential developer, and the area where Tokyo Disneyland was prospected to be, the government said that you can have this land and you can develop it, but part of it has to be used for the public good. And why would the government say that? Well, the actual country itself was becoming big into technology, recovering from post-war. This was in the 70s, so there was a lot of recovery still happening from post-war, a lot of people working a lot. And what the government did was they wanted to decrease the work week to 5 days a week. So actually bring it down to what we would consider like a normal work week, and also encourage development to be for the public good, for leisure activities, so that they would get out of kind of that working 24/7 type of situation.
So what is it used now for public?
So the public good that Oriental Land Company did is actually Disneyland. So that partnership accomplished what the government said that they had to do with the public good land area of the particular development that they were planning.
Okay, because I think about public good, I think about things that are like kind of like free almost.
Yeah, well, apparently public good, Disneyland was good enough for that.
Yeah, okay.
And I think that more public good, the actual goal from that was more leisure activities for the population.
Interesting.
Yeah. So definitely pretty cool that Disneyland it's almost like government mandate. Okay, fine, you can do this.
Yeah. You have to have Disney.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny.
So how do you feel about that?
No, I think that's interesting.
All right, so Tokyo, they're deciding to move forward with this project, and there's a lot of, we're kind of glossing over it pretty quickly just so that we can, this episode would be 4 hours long if we went into all the nitty-gritty of like the details. Mm-hmm. But so what ends up happening is that Oriental Land Company is it's in charge of developing and getting Disney to Tokyo, but Disney is still in charge of the creative processes and really training the future cast members to work in a type of to give that Disney experience, regardless of the fact that they're literally across the world.
Okay.
And actually, cast members they went to Tokyo to develop the project, but also potential cast members came to America in order to work and kind of get the feel of what the Disney experience would be like.
Did they have like those college programs, those travel programs back then?
Not to my knowledge. I'm really not sure. I haven't looked that up before.
Okay. So what other reasons was deciding factors in terms of getting Tokyo to make it Disney?
Well, from Disney's perspective, I think that the potential for growth and the receptiveness to Disney that the Japanese people would have is what their primary concern was. Because what's the point of bringing it there if it's not going to grow and become very successful? Mm-hmm. And what's interesting is they thought that in order to have a projected first year admission, let's say it's 10 million people, they projected that they would have to have between 25 and 35 attractions in order to accommodate X amount of people so that they would be able to have this amount of population in their park for the first year. So it's pretty interesting.
So was there, because I know you had found like a document that covers a lot of this, was there anything that they were like concerned about or were worried about in going to Tokyo?
That's a very interesting question. And in the document, actually, one of the biggest things that they were concerned about was the weather. Because Tokyo's weather can be unpredictable. There's typhoons, there's earthquakes. So one of the ways that they decided to, I guess I use combat like the word loosely, but one of the ways they thought they could continue driving the attendance despite having unpredictable weather was putting the World Bazaar, which is kind of like the main street of Tokyo Disneyland, covered.
That's why they did that.
Mm-hmm. So
I thought they were just trying to follow the culture because it looked like a lot of other things.
because it looked like other areas in Tokyo that you've
had
seen.
that specific type of covering.
Like a glass covering overhead.
Yeah, I didn't think about it being because of weather.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
So that's one of the ways that they really accommodated. One of the ways that they kind of
Tried to account for the
problem
weather.
solved,
Yeah.
for that type of unpredictability. And yeah, it's really interesting because it's so true. Like Tokyo weather can be. I mean, when we were there last, it rained every single day.
Yeah, except for the day that we went. which was
Exactly,
cool.
except for the way that we went to Tokyo Disneyland, which is crazy. But
I
yeah,
feel
so
like
that
they're
was
so
one of the things
prepared
they
for.
did.
I feel like they're so prepared for that type of weather, though. Like everyone has like crazy rain gear, and like it looks like there's absolutely nothing affected by any weather there. Even like remember when we were there, there was like the next day was going to be a hurricane. Everything looked normal.
Totally normal.
Yeah, and then I think they had the hurricane, and like everything also was just kind of normal.
Yeah, and then
Like-
everybody is like, "Oh, time to go to work. It's time to wake
Yeah,
up."
yeah, it's wild. Do you know if there was any sort of crazy damage that any of those parks had suffered from any storms or anything?
From any natural disasters, not that I've heard of. I can't say yes or no because I haven't researched it specifically. But that's a great question. But I'm sure that they are prepared.
No, I mean all the structures in that entire country are like you can't really destroy them for the most part.
It's very well designed, and it's designed for that type of situation because it's an island. It's literally just an island there, and there's so many storms that come through that area. It's really, really interesting.
Like it takes a lot to do damage in Tokyo.
Yeah,
Or in Japan.
I mean, here in Orlando, since also Florida weather can be kind of unpredictable as well in terms of storms. No earthquakes, of course, but in terms of storms, you just never know if something crazy is going to happen. And I feel like cast members always have their rain gear ready, their rain slicker.
Americans in general, and most of the people there in general, are not prepared for that type of weather.
Even if they know it's going to happen,
Yeah.
you're not prepared.
No shot.
That's funny. Yeah, so you know what struck me though when I was doing kind of this research is the restaurants that they were talking about and this is I don't know how many are still there to today, but the cuisine that they chose was like really, really American stuff.
That makes sense.
Hot
though.
dogs, egg salad.
That makes sense because you want them to experience like Disney, which was American.
But the reason why it struck me was because, like, now I feel like Disney, if they did it all over again, they would integrate way more specifics to the actual culture. Like, you know...
Have they done that with recent parks?
Well, with, like, Shanghai Disneyland, for instance, that was, I mean, opened not too long ago, a few years ago. And I feel like it's way more tailored to the Chinese people in terms of their taste for whatever type of food, you know, their food tastes.
Okay.
Than what they were describing as, you know, like literally like hot dogs, egg salad, you know, just very generic things that like we would see every day here.
Yeah, that makes sense though. You're making it seem like, oh, I can't believe they did that. Like that, you're making, because remember, when we go there, we're not like going there to experience American stuff. But when those people go to Disney, like, I think they're trying to get the feel of like what Disney is like.
But I feel like also the fact that they brought Disney to Tokyo, you can't just make a carbon copy, even though, yes, there were a lot of ride similarities and attraction similarities in terms of the actual experience. It doesn't necessarily have to be like everything exactly the same. That's what makes it, you know, fun to go to, is because it's just that much, like it's just a little bit different.
Yeah, but even when we went there, it's almost exactly the same.
The park or the food? I'm talking about the food.
I'm feeling like the food is too. I just can't remember having like Asian dishes when we were there.
There were lots of things that we wouldn't have found here. I'm trying to think of some.
It just seems like all the stuff was around Disney. Like it was Disney stuff.
Yeah. But the only point that I'm getting at is that nowadays, if they wouldn't start from the get-go only American style food at this park, because it's just, I feel like it's not a successful way to go in general.
Well, maybe now, because maybe now, you know, travel is so rampant and, you know, people can go anywhere for very fairly, you know, inexpensively, maybe, where it's like now it's not a big deal versus like when they first came out with it, it's like, it wasn't just like people were willy-nilly going from one country to the next.
I don't know. I guess. I mean, that's why they chose to build something in Tokyo anyways. That way it would be closer to that side of the world. So, yes, in some ways.
Experience American stuff.
You know what? I feel like Disney is more than about just experiencing American stuff. Disney parks specifically.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned that. Look at Main Street. What the hell is Main Street?
Main Street is a themed land. It's a themed land. It's not like represented. I mean, it's. I see what you're getting at, but I respectfully disagree for reasons I can't tell you right now.
Okay.
Because I can't think of them.
They don't exist.
Because they can't come to my mind. But no, I'm like the park itself is not just to bring America over there. Like the park itself is so that people can experience these amusement enterprises that Walt Disney created because people just find them fun and
What were the inspirations behind Walt Disney making these things?
Well, specifically, so Main Street is a themed land. Yes, it's a themed land, so maybe you'll have more American-style foods there because that's what it's supposed to be. But if you go to, like, Adventureland, it's also a themed land.
American?
Adventureland?
That's not the American one?
It takes you... So, for
Which one's the
instance,
American
in
one?
the Jungle
Which one's the American
Cruise
one?
Frontierland...
That's what I was thinking of. That's what I thought you brought up. I was like, you idiot.
Then why'd you roll your eyes at me? You rolled your eyes at me so much. But anyways...
Because Frontierland's also pretty American.
But if you look at Adventureland, which is where the Jungle Cruise is, they take you to Africa, to South America. You know, I'm just saying, like, it's not just so that you could be like, oh, this is what America is like. No. But, yeah.
Whatever.
But, anyways... Probably the most fun fact I got out of this was, and there's so many fun facts, but one of the most bizarre things, I guess, was the fact that they were calling it Oriental Disneyland during the initial development stages. Mm-hmm. Which is very interesting. And in fact, Oriental, like when it was spelled on like the executive summary sheet, had two little ears, the O, like Mickey Mouse.
It's funny. I mean, but you know, terms change, you know, like...
That's what I'm saying.
Like normal
like
and
it's
stuff,
not,
so.
like... I'm Asian American. Like, I don't find that word offensive.
Really?
No.
I'm just kidding.
I mean,
Then I meant like you're Asian American.
It's outdated, but offensive I wouldn't say. But anyways.
No, you didn't get the joke.
Say it again.
I said that you were Asian American.
I am.
I know. I was just joking.
Oh, okay.
Oh God.
We're getting married in a month, and you didn't know that?
Yeah. We are getting married in a month, and things are going right according to plan.
As in explosions are happening in the background.
Yeah.
As we walk away from disasters. We're working on it.
Yes.
Yeah, so we are getting married in a month. We got engaged at Tokyo Disneyland.
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
So that's really all that I had to bring to the table for you in learning a little bit about how Tokyo Disneyland came to Tokyo.
Nice.
And you know what I'll do? That way, if you want to know more about this specific, like all these details that Disney actually wrote in the deciding process of bringing Disney to Tokyo, I'm going to put a link in the description to Diz Avenue, which is where I got this information from, so that you can read it in crazy, crazy detail, which it's very interesting. I do recommend reading the whole thing.
So that'll be in the podcast show notes and in the description on YouTube.
Yeah.
Cool. And we'll probably post on Instagram.
Cool.
And Twitter.
Cool.
And Facebook.
All right.
Which, speaking of, that's it, right? You done with the episode?
I'm done with what I wanted to tell you about, yeah.
Okay, good. All right. Speaking of social media, please, hope everyone really enjoyed the episode. Follow us on all your favorite social media platforms and connect with us there. Make sure to check out the Alexa Flash briefing, and that's all I got.
All right. Well, that sounds wonderful, Richie. Thank you so much for contributing that. So, no, seriously, though, thank you guys so much for listening, taking a little bit of time out of your day to spend with us. We hope this brought a little bit of magic to your day, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.